Welcome to the Service Unit Manager tutorial, Chapter 3, Service Unit Meeting Logistics. This session will discuss how to plan for an effective service unit meeting that ensures that your service unit successfully meets its goals. By the end of this session, you will be able to identify steps to plan the perfect meeting, identify ways to create a welcoming environment, and identify strategies to manage the atmosphere of your meeting. Let's get started with our first learning objective. Successful meetings require management before, during, and after the meeting. Let's begin with the planning phase of this process. The 4 steps that you should be able to identify when planning your meeting are defining your meeting's purpose, securing a location, scheduling your meeting, and creating an agenda. The purpose of a service unit meeting is to share information with and provide support to leaders and other volunteers in the service unit. A good meeting will promote service unit goals, reinforce information and best practices, and keep participants engaged. Consider some specific goals for a service unit meeting. They might include teaching leaders about progression through a short and snappy, or communicating information about an encampment. Regardless, when defining your meeting's purpose, you want to make sure that all of your goals are SMART. SMART goals are ones that are specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. Be sure to pay attention to a location's space versatility, geographic location, and safety before securing a site. A location's space versatility includes both time and physical versatility. You're probably going to need time before the meeting to set up, as well as time to clean up afterwards. Some locations are very tight on time allowances, so you always want to be sure that you are keeping to the venue's time constraints. For example, a staff person or custodian from the community center, place of worship, or school may need to be present for the duration of your meeting so that they can lock up after you. Room and seating arrangements play an important role in the atmosphere and overall effectiveness of your meeting.
Ask yourself, are there tables? What about sinks for cleanup? Can the seating be rearranged for different activities?
Using your mouse, scroll over the seating arrangements displayed on the screen to learn which kind of setup would best suit and accommodate your group's needs. While you may be quite familiar with your site's geographic location, keep in mind that it will be new to many attending the meeting. For these newcomers, ensure that simple driving instructions are available to them, and, if possible, try to locate a site that is accessible via public transportation. Use the Site Safety Checklist as a helpful resource when choosing your meeting location. The checklist includes items such as making sure restrooms, adequate lighting, and heat or AC are available, and that a site is accessible for people of all abilities. This form can be found under the Service Unit Forms section of the website. If you currently have internet access, you may click on the image to go to the website. Scheduling your meetings according to the GSCNC Master Calendar will provide you with objectives that are in sync with Council events and goals. For example, it is probably more useful to schedule your monthly service unit meeting after your service unit manager area meeting. The Master Calendar will also help you avoid scheduling on holidays and Girl Scout events. You may know the holidays that you celebrate, but you don't want to forget about other religions and cultures. You also want to try to avoid Girl Scout events that may already be on a leader's calendar and times that may be busy for you. You may find the GSCNC Master Calendar by clicking on the Calendar link at the bottom of any page on the GSCNC website. Consider setting dates for the year. Having dates well in advance gives your attendees a chance to plan and give you sufficient notice regarding their attendance. A quick reminder before each meeting will boost attendance. A great way to keep your members motivated and on track is to send out a meeting reminder via email or Yahoo group. To spark interest, you could provide a sneak peek of the agenda by mentioning an item of interest such as a guest speaker. An agenda maps out what will be done at a meeting and makes it possible for the meeting to move in a logical and orderly manner. 5 important components of your agenda should be, but are not limited to, the opening, new business, continuing education, time for questions, and a closing. Depending on the dynamics and size of your group, you may open your meeting with introductions or an icebreaker, say the promise and the law, or share a short sentence on a predetermined topic. This is also a great time to review the agenda. During the business part of your meeting, you want to mention both local and council business and updates. This can include committee reports, share or product sales updates, council-wide changes, service unit events, and other announcements. Continuing education should be determined based on group interest as much as possible and delivered in a variety of ways. Having a group of volunteers gathered together is a great opportunity to engage in interactive activities such as roundtables and buzz groups. These breakout groups allow leaders to network and share ideas and can easily be formed based on level, school, or neighborhood. You may also want to offer a short and snappy or have a guest speaker. Be sure to set aside enough time towards the end of your meeting for a question and answer session. This time allows for reflection, clarification, and the tying up of any loose ends. If there's a question that arises during this time that you are unable to answer, make a note of it and respectfully let the inquirer know that you will follow up with an answer at a later time. Closings are an important part of the agenda. We will discuss closing a meeting later on in this tutorial. Let's review what you've learned. In order to create a welcoming environment, remember to be early, be welcoming, and be organized. Show up early to make sure that the room is ready and that all equipment and materials are available. This way, if there are any last-minute glitches, you will be able to address them before your meeting begins. Another component of punctuality is to make sure that your meeting starts, progresses, and ends on time. Greeting your audience and making them feel welcome sets the tone of the meeting and helps to diffuse any existing tension at the door.
In addition to having an opening activity on the agenda, here are a few simple tricks you can use to create a welcoming atmosphere.
Provide name tags so that participants can get to know each other. It is important to make this a consistent practice for everyone at the meeting, even if only one new person attends, as it will help all feel welcome. Name tags will also help you begin to recognize those names and faces who regularly attend your meetings. These folks are probably good candidates to offer additional tasks and responsibilities to. For example, if you are unable to greet people at the door, assign one of these familiar faces to do so. Even though it can be a disruption, you also want to make sure latecomers feel welcome and not out of place. When the meeting starts, you can assign someone to watch the door, greet latecomers, and perhaps brief them on what they've missed. It is also important to consider your room setup. If you can, make adjustments to ensure that the audience can see and hear, participate, and remain comfortable. You can reference the seating chart slide to assist you in determining what type of arrangement best meets your goals and the needs of your members. Also, be sure to set up a table by the entrance of your meeting space and provide all of the materials there for members to collect as they enter, as well as a sign-in sheet. Not only are these items important to make your meeting participants feel comfortable, having these materials at the entrance can help you to be organized. And don't forget that being organized can often mean delegating responsibilities to others.
You can't always do it yourself.
Taking some things off of your plate will free up some of your time so that you're able to deal with unexpected needs. A caper chart is a simple way to delegate meeting responsibilities to service unit team members and leaders. Take a moment now to scroll over some of the tools listed on this slide and think about how you can incorporate them into your next meeting. Let's review what you've learned. Managing the atmosphere of a meeting is important to a successful outcome. You want to know when to discuss a matter with the group and when to defer, how to deal with common difficult behaviors, and how to build community through your closing. It's easy to get off track or run out of time when you don't prioritize talking points. If issues arise that are not on your agenda, ask yourself the following.
Is the topic applicable to the meeting's guidelines and one that should be discussed at the present moment, or is it a topic that should be revisited at a later time?
Approaching all off-topic discussions and questions in this manner will help you establish consistency in your meeting and among your participants. Roll over the headings on this slide for examples of when you should discuss or defer.
When you do have to defer, a parking lot or similar tool is a good way to ensure that you follow up on a pending matter.
A parking lot is simply a sheet of paper or basket where participants can leave written questions, comments, and concerns that are important but off topic. Using a parking lot shows that you have heard and respect the opinion of the person who raised the issue. Parking lot items may be addressed during the question and answer part of your meeting, after the meeting, or at a later date. Now, let's review some typical behaviors that may arise from a group and discuss ways to manage them in a positive and productive way. Roll over the icons to learn more. Let's review what you've learned. Before ending a meeting, be sure to discuss next steps. This can include a reminder of the date, time, and location for the next meeting, a review of the caper chart, a confirmation of any follow-up work of individuals or small groups, and a preview of what will be discussed at the next meeting. And don't forget to build community with a warm and fuzzy closing. This could be as simple as reciting the promise in the law, singing a song, or doing the friendship squeeze. Or use leaders and members of your team as resources by including the closing in your caper chart. Remember that this is a great chance to give leaders ideas of creative closings that they can use for their meetings. Congratulations! You have successfully completed the third chapter of the Service Unit Manager tutorial.
You may keep a record of this by entering today's date as well as the chapter name on your training card. You have come to the end of this chapter. However, I recommend that you review this material a second time to ensure your understanding of the subject matter.
Remember, if you have not already, please go online or call to register for the in-person portion of this class.
Thank you for your time.